Good morning. So the purpose of this screencast is to help you guys take the data that you collected from the surface area to volume ratio lab and present it in a data table like this one. I'm hoping that you might have this printed copy in front of you. Once we get this data table put together, I'm going to use the data table to produce a graph that looks like this one. Again, hoping that you might have a printed copy of this in front of you. And the purpose here is to get you guys introduced to Microsoft Excel, spreadsheets, and showing you how to analyze data from the graph and present raw data, and how to process and present how to process data and how to present processed data, and then how to use it to produce a proper graph with a proper title, axis titles. These error bars are quite complicated, the trend line. So these are all of the little boxes that we have to tick in the IB world to get full points for data presentation in your internal assessment. I did this lab last year with pre-IB classes, and my current IB biology group has done a great job so far this school year with regard to their Excel skills. They learned a lot in grade 10, and they're able to apply these spreadsheet skills to labs that we're doing in IB Bio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fresh spreadsheet and I'm going to build this data table over here on this worksheet. So what have we got to do? Probably set up these column headings first in row 3. So in row 3, I'm just going to click on this cell and I'm going to start typing column headings. So surface area to volume ratio. Now, notice that text is way too long to fit into that cell. I'm just going to hit enter. And I don't know why this thing is here. Print area. Get lost. Beautiful. Well, that helps. Anyway, this text is too long to fit into that cell. That's not a big deal. We're going to deal with that a little bit later on. So if I click on cell A3, I can see the contents of cell A3 up here. And what I'm going to do now is click on cell B3. Okay? And even though that text in A3 is continuing over, I can see up here that there's nothing in that cell. So I can just start typing. It's going to look ugly here for a bit, but we'll tidy it up later. So width of remaining pink color. Now we need to put units in this cell. So our uncertainty in that width measurement, you used a ruler, so the uncertainty is going to be plus or 1 millimeter, plus or minus 0.1 centimeters. So to get that plus or minus symbol, you're going to go under the insert menu and find insert symbol. And we just have to find that plus or minus thing. And it's right here. So there it is. I just clicked on it and it appeared. So plus or minus 0.1 cm. Okay? So there we go. Again, these are overlapping, but it's not a big deal. I'm going to text wrap these cells later on. So in cell C3, the next column over, volume, and again, the units are plus or minus, and in this case, 0.3 cm, and I'm hitting tab to get to the next cell, D3. So then I have volume that remained pink, and the units are plus or minus, so click on that symbol, click back up here to get my cursor there, 0.3 cm, tab to the next column, diffused, volume, O-L-U-M-E, diffused volume, and that's plus or minus 0.3 cm. Bam. Next one is percent volume diffused, and that's just a percentage as far as the units. Next column heading is mean percentage volume diffused, and again that's a percentage. And the last one, standard deviation of mean percentage volume diffused. Good. Now, that was, so the last column that I used was H, column H. So I'm going to click and I'm going to click and drag to H, and I'm going to hit this text wrap feature. Text wrap. And so you can see what it did. It increased the height of that row. Now the other thing I'm going to do is hit this button, which is going to center that text horizontally. And one other thing, while I've got these cells highlighted, I'm going to right click and go to Format Cells, and under the Alignment tab, they are, you can see that they're all on the bottom of the cell, the vertical. I'm going to center them vertically and hit OK. Now, that text is centered vertically and horizontally, and it's text wrapped, and the text doesn't overlap anymore, and it's nice. I'm going to do just a couple more things for this part of the screencast, and then I'm going to stop it and start a new recording. So a little bit about merging cells. So this is the first row in the data table, and I am going to merge and center these cells. And what that does is it took all of those cells and it made them one big block over top of the data table. So here I can type my title, Table 1, raw and processed data collected from phenol. Notice the eno in phenol. Phthalene, P-H-T-H-A-L. Phthalene infused agar cubes after 8 minutes of exposure to vinegar. Okay, good. So once again, that cell needs to be text wrapped. Text wrap. And I need to make the, it's interesting that it didn't automatically change the row height. It's all right. Format cells. No, that's not right. Not format cells. Just what I did there, sorry. I right-clicked, or if you're on a Mac, two-finger click on the number over here, the number of the row. Right-click and go to row height. And right now it's 0.5. I'll change that to 0.8. See what it looks like. Okay. The heck. Well, let's change it to, again, right-click there, row height. Let's change it to 1.2. What does that look like? That's better. Okay. And I'm going to, if you look at the page, hopefully that's in front of you, I'm going to take these two cells and highlight them and merge them. Merge and center. And then in that cell, I want raw data. Okay, and this series of cells, I'm going to merge and center, and that is processed data. The IB is very, very particular that really raw data and processed data are supposed to appear in different tables, or if they're in the same table, they need to be clearly separated. And so that's how that's going to work. These labels will clearly separate our raw from processed data. I think for ease of uploading this to the web, I'm going to end it here and start a new screencast that'll take us to the next few steps. So there we go.